Our next award is pretty special. Please watch the big screens to hear this story.
My whole life, I've been told what was impossible, what you'll never do, what you'll never become. And very few people told me what was possible and what I could become. If you break down impossible, it says I'm possible. As a kid, I was always super active, and I loved goofing around with my brothers. I'm a triplet, so there was definitely 3 times the trouble and 3 times the craziness. Dancing has always been my passion, and I loved performing. But I was also drawn to swimming into the water. There's something so freeing about gliding through the water, and at 11 years old, I had my entire life ahead of me. But that's when things changed forever. One day, without any notice, my body suddenly started shutting down. Like a circuit breaker in a house, slowly each switch started to shut off. And then eventually, the lights went out, and I was trapped inside my body, unable to move, talk, and function. I was diagnosed with 2 rare autoimmune conditions, and there was little to no hope for recovery. But I felt the love of my family, and I could hear their words of encouragement and hope. Even though they couldn't hear me, I heard them. They were fighting for me, and I was fighting for them. But there were days I would lose a lot of hope. I couldn't do it anymore, and I had to prepare for the possibility of dying. And then I had this moment and this epiphany, if you will, where I realized, wait a second, this is not how my story is supposed to end. And so I made a promise with God. If you give me this second chance at life, I promise you I will not waste a single moment. And from there, I knew I had to fan the flame. And I realized this is happening. This is actually happening. Winning gold and 3 silver medals at the Paralympic Games is something I'll never forget. But I knew deep down there was still more work I had to do. I had to continue to redefine what was possible and get back everything that was taken away from me. And the one thing that I had yet to conquer was walking and dancing.
That was better! That was so much better!
After spending 10 years in a wheelchair, there were days I would go to Project Walk, I would go to my training sessions, and I didn't know if I was possible. I'm possible. Today my life has limitless possibilities, and I even realized one of my sports dreams becoming one of the youngest on-air talents hired by ESPN. And today I can say I've realized another dream, being a contestant on Dancing with the Stars. I would never choose what happened to me, but I would never change it. I will use my voice to change the world, spreading hope, spreading love, and spreading light, because the world needs that. That's enough for me. That is what makes all of this worthwhile.
Victoria had no idea we were doing this tonight. Round of applause for the Perseverance Award. My colleague at ESPN, oh, you're coming up on stage. Victoria Arlen. So, quick backstory. When we were looking for somebody to help me co-host tonight's event, I had a dinner with Tony, Doc, and Mike, and we were talking about people, and I said, I think I have somebody, and she's phenomenal with her spirit and who she is. She's a dear friend, and it's Victoria. And then they did some research, and then suddenly, within weeks, they were like, Victoria's amazing. We had no idea about her story. We had no idea at ESPN about her story, and then she came and joined us for the 2015 Special Olympic World Games. And Victoria at the time was in a wheelchair, and her dream was to get on SportsCenter. And a few years later, she was down the hallway, and I was like, oh my God, Victoria, you're walking. What happened? And years later, you can watch her on SportsCenter, First Take, living her dream each and every day, and it's all about perseverance. And there was a time, Victoria, where specifically, I want to hear you share this with the crowd. There was a time you were in bed, and you were overhearing in the hospital your parents talking to the doctors about what to do next, and potentially taking you off a ventilator while you're conscious because you couldn't communicate. You're blinking your eyes. And what changed the course of, obviously, your life was your belief from your parents to say, no, we're staying the course no matter what in this vegetative state because we believe there's still somebody inside. And you're listening to this, blinking, but you can't communicate. Can you share with this crowd what was that experience like?
Yeah, so it's actually called locked-in syndrome. So basically, my entire body had shut down, and the doctors told my parents that I was, quote-unquote, a lost cause. I'll let you in on a secret. There's no such thing as a lost cause. And so I'm living proof of that. If there is, hi, nice to meet you. I'm a lost cause. And so basically they told my parents I was a lost cause and that they should give up and plan my funeral. And if I don't, by a miracle, die, that they should put me in a special care facility, move on with their lives. I'm a triplet. I'm very blessed with the parents that I have. My parents were like, yeah, we're not accepting that. And so we'll take care of our child for as long as we have with her and give her the best quality of life that we can. And so, I think, for them, they just were like, whatever time we do have with her, we're going to give her the best possible life that we can. And what they didn't realize is that I was aware of all of that. And so for me, I'm like, it's way cooler to write a bucket list of what I'm going to do when I get out of this versus my obituary of what I'm going to do when this eventually takes me out. And so I thought about what you wrote about your goals and stuff too, and that was for me, when I was really sick, I thought about what are my goals when I get out of this, and I've been really fortunate. I've been able to achieve a lot of those goals now. Since then, I've been really fortunate with that. And so, yeah, my parents just wouldn't give up, and I paid attention to that and just refused to give up too. Maybe I'm just really stubborn. I don't know, probably. My dad was like, you're just too stubborn to die. I was like, probably. I got things I got to do, and laying in a hospital bed for 4 years gave me a lot of time to think about the things I wanted to do. And so, that's really, they just refused to give up, and there's no such thing as a lost cause.
The perfect example of perseverance, Victoria Arlen. Thank you so much.
You really left me speechless here.
Victoria, this is for everything you've done for us this past few days. So,
thank you.
take this.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Again, that was a complete surprise to Victoria, so a round of applause for her to come up here. And she continues to live her dream on ESPN.